it's Sylvia Machete. As always, I'm grateful that you're able to join me today on Luminosity TV. Today's topic is one of those that I have lived, that I can honestly say that I've truly experienced. And even at this stage of my life, I'm still struggling and learning how to be better. We often ask ourselves, where did time go? I remember as a 16-year-old, I would stay up at night and watch the Oscars and all those award ceremonies and red carpet events. I was always so fascinated with the dress up. And I think most young girls stayed up for the fashion at that time. I would watch how men wore their tuxedos, and the only part of their bodies that was showing was their face and their arms. And yet when the women walked the red carpet, all the attention went to how they look, who wore what, how horrible or beautiful their dresses were, whether or not it was a hit or a miss, as determined by a few people in the background, usually men, and all the other designers that were around. At that age, there was always a slight disgust in me seeing the parade of women wearing some of the most ridiculous outfits with the amount of skin that was on display just almost impossible. Almost as if the more naked they were, the more thumbs up they got. And yet the guy only needed to wear a suit. Over time, this got progressively worse, and this affected me a lot. But then after a while, it started to look like it was normal. And many young girls like myself felt like this was the thing to do. Just copy what the celebs are doing and wear what they're wearing, and this will make you look cool and trendy. The number of wrong fashion choices I tried myself was alarming. I cringe in disgust when I think about it sometimes. But even back then, I used to question, who made these silly rules? It's just so unfair to the woman. But I quickly became one of those women, eventually. The men literally just had to show up, and the woman for weeks would have to be prepping herself, spa treatments, mud facials, don't forget the cucumber in the eye, the low-carb diets, and dozens of dresses. For what? I realized the fault was no one else but the women themselves, and that over the years they had condoned and made this our norm, allowing ourselves to be objectified and created this unhealthy competition between the women themselves, wanting to outshine each other and look prettier than each other. You dare not wear the same dress as me on the red carpet. That would be a disaster. We would have to fight. And yet the men can wear the same suit, and they might even high-five each other for making similar fashion choices like, hey dude, I like your style. What happened to us women? The trouble is many women now believe their fashion choices is original to them, and they don't realize that over the years, they have been subliminally conditioned to dress a certain way to conform to the norm, and to feel inadequate if they didn't look a certain way. As if it wasn't bad enough, the trickery is making us believe that dressing in a certain way empowers you and gives you some kind of imaginary freedom. I've often heard women say, I make my own fashion choices, I wear what I want at whatever age I am. But when you see what they're referring to as a fashion choice that's giving them freedom, it's usually something in which they're probably semi-naked, which then begs the question, when did women equate freedom and empowerment with nudity and exposure of themselves? I always say that there is no right or wrong when we're evolving as a humanity, but growth is when we stop and realize that what we've always considered normal could actually be very wrong, and that we have to start making changes. It's a journey, obviously, and a long one for that matter. We each wake up to the truth at different times. But the time is coming when many women would realize they truly need to empower themselves from within and decide how they want to look, where naked does not equate freedom. I think along with so many concepts over the years, which includes how we wear our hair and what makeups we ought to apply and what kind of outfits makes us look good, all all of this has been a lie. We've been conditioned to think that it has to be a certain way. To be free, to be empowered, and to be a true woman goes beyond what the fashion of the day is, what the hairstyle should be, and what contour your face needs. Don't get me wrong, we're all sucked in. It will take a long time before change can happen. It's a gradual process. And the more women who wake up to what truly being beautiful means, the faster the change can happen. It's a daily motion of cultivating beauty in and around you. But it requires your real eyes to be opened. It requires you to be conscious of what beauty means. There's beauty everywhere. We all express it uniquely in our own ways, but many have allowed it to wither away by replacing it with something that is dictated to them as being beautiful, something contrived, restricted, and unnatural. Beauty just is, same as it has always been through time. The trouble is, we stop seeing it in everyone, and we start rewarding those who fight to outshine each other by going that extra mile or daring to expose themselves. Somebody told you the longer your slit is on your dress, the more beautiful you are. The shorter the dress, the more stunning you'll look. And the lower the cleavage, the sexier you'll be. And we thought that was being free. It's the biggest scam of the century. Here's where a lot of women get triggered. And I know this because I've been through it myself. Your intuition knows what is right and wishes to protect you from this nonsense. But your intellect jumps in very quickly because it can't accept that it's been fooled for so long. So the best way is to fight back by saying things like, well, who's going to wear all these clothes every day, like all this heavy clothes? Who's going to cover themselves up from neck down as if I was a nun? Not me. I'm looking for a boyfriend or a husband. I can't be seen dressed like that. Besides, I'm not going to wear that when I'm rushing off to the shops. This is the pushback from the cunning side of the brain. Okay, what's ideal for the boyfriend and the husband? What's ideal for the shops? Cleavage, short shorts, mini skirt, and who told you that? The worst one is when we go a step further and we say, I'm not doing this for any man. This is just me and how I like to dress. I'm an independent woman. Well, no, it can't be, because to a large extent, fashion has been determined by those who make them and design them, not the ones who choose to wear them. And you're simply choosing from what's considered the trend and today's idea of fashion. Just like the women wore corsets back in the 60s, and it's now shapewear today. You didn't say, I'm not wearing Spanx, bring back the corset. You simply bought the Spanx. But again, what we think is beauty just isn't so. It doesn't move with trends or designer choices. Not one human being should determine your beauty. You should be beautiful to the glory of your Creator. But we have lost and distorted exactly that which makes us beautiful, our sense of shame. This has been replaced with our need for freedom. Beauty is everywhere. It's free to start with. It's simple and natural, elegant, graceful, and yet modest. Let it live within you like you see it in every plant and every tree, until you can look at each human being without judging them on how they look physically and forcing them to be a certain way, until we can see that beauty and freedom isn't in exposing ourselves or going nude. Otherwise, why is handsome over there in a tuxedo? And how would you feel if men put holes in their suit to show their bits? This is one of the hardest tasks a woman has to face today. This is my struggle. We women can harmonize the world and truly make it a better place the moment we stop allowing ourselves to be distracted with competing for attention and recognize our true roles as women. that of upbuilding, supporting and furthering humanity as a whole. As always, I'm a work in progress. I recognize these faults in myself, which makes it so much easier for me to share it with you today. But gradually, when your sense of beauty and your sense of shame comes back to you, you begin to see yourself differently. And you ask yourself, when did we get sold the idea that exposure of self meant beauty and freedom? We have a lot of internal repairs to do. And I do believe that step by step, we can individually and collectively make a difference, one beautiful soul at a time. It would take a long time for this to happen, probably many generations, maybe my grandchildren, but the time is coming. Yes, I know, this will trigger a lot of women who believe that they need to be free and beautiful and sexy with their bodies. If only you were your body, but you are much more than that. They might even feel offended, but I found out within myself a long time ago that the truth is and cannot be changed just because you're offended. Rome wasn't built in a day, but is still standing, and so will true beauty, one day when the time is right. Until we see again, let beauty arise within you. It's in there somewhere. Take good care of yourself. Bye-bye.